You looking for this?
Welcome back to BoomShot. I'm Kill. This
Yes,
is Colby,
sir.
and we just got finished watching The Last of Us episode 3. I didn't know what it's called. I guess Bill and Frank, because that was basically all it was about. But
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
yeah, I don't remember the name of this episode, and we're not going to be able to react to anything today because we're so early that we can't.
First
steal it
time
off
for everything.
Yeah, we can't steal it off the internet. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it, starting now. Okay, so the episode it was pretty good, decent.
Yep.
But it's a long episode, by the way, like hour and 20 minutes. I think that's longer than the first episode, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've all been pretty long so far.
Yeah. So the episode opens up. We obviously Tess has just died in the previous episode, which is brutal. Rip Tess, and sacrifices herself to save Joel and Ellie, which now they are embarking on their journey. It says they're about 10 miles. The episode opens with Joel next to a river, and then Ellie is off, I guess, like sitting or whatever. But they get on the journey, and they're going to a gas station, supply up real quick. Nothing much happened there. And then they continue on the journey, and then it kind of leaves their story for a second, which we'll pick back up. But basically, we get introduced to the backstory of Bill. What do you think about Bill?
Dude, Bill's a beast, man. That guy,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he's more prepared than anybody I've ever seen.
Except for Frank Castle, baby.
Frank, he would have liked his arsenal.
Yeah.
He had quite the arsenal, dude.
Yeah.
The man was prepared. I think it's a cool concept. Like, he knew they were coming, and he was like, okay, I'm going to hide. Everybody's going to get out of here. And he had basically that whole little town to himself.
Yeah.
And he fortified it and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and he had a truck. Well, we'll get to that later.
Truck
But
did
he had a
this
truck and a boat, and man was going. He picked up a generator, dude. He picked up natural gas. Like he had running power,
He knew
power
what
and
he was
everything.
doing. He went to Home Depot, the wine store.
Yeah.
He was prepared. He was prepared as much as
I have to say that like his traps were funny too. Like when that infected's running in and like it hits the tripwire and it just gets shot. Like he's like never gets old.
never gets old. He must have seen a lot of infected try to get through there.
Yeah, which that's Nick Offerman. If y'all don't know, he's the guy who is from Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson. But anyway, so we see some backstory with them, but then it cuts back to Joel and Ellie, which is really what is the story is about. Almost, this was kind of an aside just to introduce a really big point in the show, which is, or even in the game, how in the world did Joel and Ellie make it to Wyoming so fast?
Yeah, I mean, this episode obviously it had the side story with Bill and Frank, but it, like you said, it starts off. And then it goes with their story, and then at the end we get back to them.
Yeah.
And like you said, and like the title says of this video, I've never played the game. You never played the game. You know a little bit about it. But yeah, I mean, you're saying that it fills in some gaps of how they got there, because in the game it just skips over, right?
I'm pretty sure after, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've read, I'm pretty sure after they pass the Boston QZ, pretty much the game like cuts and they're in Wyoming. So this explains how they got to Wyoming. Plus, they got stocked up because Bill left his truck, all of the stuff he had, like he had sulfur, he had gas, he had
pretty much
a battery charge, literally everything like anybody could want in a barren world.
He's like his own QZ, dude.
Yeah.
Him and Frank were like their own QZ. I mean, probably even better, dude.
Yeah, really.
They had all kinds of stuff. They had it going.
Dude, Bill was living the dream, dude. He
really was. He was cooking good food. It's just a cool concept to me. Like like an oasis. I know we were talking about that off camera. I thought you said that in our last episode, but it was about Bad Batch. But I mean, that's kind of what it was for Joel and Tess, at least. Mm-hmm. Like an oasis, and then they ended up trading and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just a cool concept. But I mean, I think I don't know if they were in the game or not.
I don't remember them personally. I don't, but they very well could be in the game. So, which I'm trying, we're both trying to stay away from spoilers. But I think it makes sense though, because if they're not in the game, like I don't recall them being mentioned at all, which makes sense that they died in the show. Like they lived in the show and died in the show, because that doesn't add anything to the game.
And if they weren't, they could have been in the game this whole time. We're just coming up with theories. But if they weren't in the game, the show took creative liberty, to make their characters, but also drive the plot forward with their story by, at the end of the day, getting the truck to Joel.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously very important to the plot. I mean, this is... we would have spent episodes and episodes trying to get to Wyoming.
Yeah, for sure.
Just walking. I mean... Yeah,
because they would have to take a major time jump. Now it's feasible how they got to Wyoming so quickly, which... they're in Massachusetts. Wyoming's still a pretty good drive. So we'll see obviously how that goes. Maybe the episode picks up with them in Wyoming. I doubt it does because that's kind of how the game goes. So I imagine we'll get like an episode in between the Wyoming experience.
The gaps.
Yeah. So which is kind of what this show is for, which is awesome. I did one thing I did like was at the very end that letter that Bill left, indicating that he had left all the stuff to Joel.
Yeah,
talking about how like you should fight for the ones you love.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That letter is really emotional because obviously he was saying Tess, and Tess is really the one that reached out to Frank, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And made that relationship in the first place, and now Tess is no longer with him, and he was like, "Hey, take all this stuff and protect Tess," right? Mm-hmm. So now that's, like you said, it's gonna have to be Ellie he's protecting.
Yeah, and like Tess as somebody who like he loved as a person, as somebody he was quote unquote married to, but now, yeah, as a fatherly role, which making sure she stays protected, which is, I think it's really cool because we got to see a little bit of Ellie's character, how she's a lot like Joel when she stabbed the infected in the eye, but then we also get to see how Joel is overcoming his I guess like hardness of heart almost.
Yeah.
That since Sarah died, and now he's like back in the fatherly role, which is cool.
Yeah, because we saw that too. I guess it was episode 1 when that lady, when they were killing the people off that they couldn't keep or whatever, that were infected or something, and that lady was like, she I can't because it was a child or whatever.
Yeah.
And Joel went in there and did it, but I mean, obviously, he had a hard heart after his daughter died. So, yeah, we're seeing his character come around again and be like, okay, yeah, like you said, be a fatherly figure again. So,
yeah.
And I think that's, I don't know, man. I think it's going to end up being a pretty emotional later on, their relationship. Because obviously that's what the whole show's about, the game, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Obviously, the two of them, so. I don't know, man. I feel like there's going to be some tearjerkers.
Yeah, probably. So. But let us know what you guys think of this episode. Are you excited for how it kind of filled in the gaps a little bit almost? I think that's cool. I guess we should mention the truck that they drove real quick. The shabby S10, bro. My dad owned an S10 for a while, and then he gave it to my brother. That bad boy, it may not be pretty, but it runs.
It runs.
Yeah, and which is what Joel needed. Oh, because he got a truck battery.
Dude,
out of
you got to
it,
think. I mean, the man Bill was using it for what, 20 plus years?
Yeah,
at least 20 years. And that baby's still running.
Yeah.
So if you got an S10 out there, you got to get
right now. Joel's ahead of a lot of the game because he has machinery like that, and he's got arsenal. Yeah, really.
And also, I guess we can mention, you might know what happens, but I hope we see old Tommy back. I mean, that's kind of the whole mission, obviously, besides getting Ellie.
That's like Joel's main mission, and Ellie's his side mission. But like right now, like taking Ellie to the Fireflies is the mission that he was given, but it's not first priority. So
yeah, he's focused on finding Tommy, but he also wants to get her somewhere where they can save the world.
Yeah, so, almost. Yeah. So anyway, let us know what you guys think. Were you a fan of this episode? Are you ready for the next one? And thank you guys for watching. See you in the next one.